All right, I think we are live. We can wait just a minute and just to make sure everything clicks over on the YouTube side of things. Okay. All right, so I am here. I am DW Hits. I'm the editor in chief at Fedowar Press, and this is Indie April. So we are hoping this month to put a spotlight on some of our authors. Let some of you guys out there maybe meet some authors you've never met before, give you a little glimpse into some of the work they've done for Fedowar Press, and at the same time, give you some glimpses into their own private work. And hopefully, together, we can grow as an indie community. Okay, so tonight I have author Stephen Coghlan with me. Stephen is the creator of Remnants. I have right here Remnants Volume 1, which is our the second publication. First publication was under Kyanite Press a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, Kyanite wasn't able to stick around, but we wanted to give it a new life, and we all came together. And this new issue has three more stories involved in it. So we are pretty proud of that. So Stephen, you worked with us with Remnants. Tell us about you as an author and the genres you work in, the themes you work in.
Well, I'm an indie author first, small press published, um, but as far as genres go, you could put pretty much everything in the blender and kind of roll out. I mean, I'm known for some crop opera, some of the punk genres such as Dreampunk. I've written some cyberpunk. There's actually cyberpunk coming out later. Um, so I science fiction, fantasy, a ton of apocalypse to the point that I'm wondering, what's the plural for apocalypse? And then we end up living in the last couple of years, which is kind of, fitting and answering the question in a very horrid way.
Definitely, I can see that. So, which are some of your favorite to write in within all of those?
The favorite would probably see. This is really tough because
Mm-hmm.
I like all of them. It depends upon how I'm facing it. For erotic crop opera, for instance, or monster erotica, if you will, I treated it as a joke where it took off and became, something serious. So I just like to write because it's a form of me being able to do a couple of things. One is it's me saying to everybody who ever said you'll never be a published author, na 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 na. Secondly, it's a chance for me to go ahead and I'm a guy. We suffer toxic masculinity, right? We don't talk about things, so I have to have a chance to actually purge out on somehow. So I use the written word and I do it through fictional characters. And if I get upset, well, I get to have somebody slaughter somebody else in the most gory way possible and call it, relief. It's a safe environment, right?
Definitely. And there's something about that creative process about being able to get those thoughts and those feelings out that's just, it has that internal satisfaction that you kind of can't get almost anywhere else.
Well, it's creating, right? You can create only so much in your life, and you might as well enjoy and create what you can. If it leaves behind a great legacy for you, even better. If it makes you rich, well, congratulations. So far, well, we're all in this together because none of us are rolling in the dough right now, and but we are enjoying the process of creating. We're enjoying the process of writing. We're enjoying the process of banging our heads together to come up with some really cool ideas.
Definitely. Definitely. I like hearing that. So tell us about the creation of Remnants and kind of the ideas behind that, the stories that you brought within the world of the Remnants.
Okay, well, I'll start with the creation first, as you said. The creation of Remnants actually occurred because I love anthologies. It's a chance for people to play in somebody else's mind, especially in something which we ended up dubbing sandbox. Sandbox is like the Grand Theft Auto games, but anthologies is sandboxes for authors. It's a bunch of us to get together and play within the rules. The rules itself for Remnants actually started with the original novella, which I'm going back a couple of years. I initially recorded and typed it all out on a BlackBerry. the initial story. That's the first one, and it
Hmm.
set the tone. The other two stories that I feature in there, one was more or less a play on how would life be inside a bunker during the situation. Now that comes up because I actually live very close and have worked in a military bunker as a tour guide, the Diefen bunker in Carp. You may have heard of it in passing, but it was the bunker also used in a couple of movies. And I was a tour guide there for a couple of years, remember? And I wanted to kind of understand how life would be with the monsters clawing over top. And the
Hmm.
last one actually, the last story that out of the three in my work actually comes from an attempt at an erotic poem where I realized that it didn't have quite the flow I wanted it. It wasn't sultry enough, so to say, not ooh tantalizing, but what it was it was a it gave me a chance to go back and revisit it and to turn it from that an attempt at something semi-erotic story into a hope, a change, an evolution, which is basically what we do anyways. We evolve as we grow. We evolve as people. We evolve as a society. And I wanted to show an evolution. Yeah, these guys have been through a monster apocalypse, but there's a chance, a hope in the end, even with when all hope has seemed lost.
I like that, and you can definitely tell a progression through the book as you go from the very beginning to your second story to the third. You can definitely see a difference, and
Well, I hats off to you to you and BK for what you've done with the stories, because it's not just my story. There is a progression when you open that book. It has everybody has a place in it, everybody's story, and it just works. It flows really nicely, and just makes me really proud to have worked with all these wonderful authors, and to
mhm.
have them come in and say, "Hey, we're going to write in your world." So that was really, really touching. And also, there's some pride because in some of their authors' cases, it's their first published work where they got paid for it. So that's one of the things I always like to try and do. I want to be that guy who helps other authors get out there and, get their stories told, get their confidence up, and
Mhm.
then, you know, they have the better chance to create something more.
That is definitely a fantastic feeling to be able to bring authors together, especially authors who may not have been published before, and bring that out. So that was definitely nice, and I agree. Going from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, there's such a wide range of stories, such a wide range of interactions between characters, different themes, different types of relationships, and it's really a fantastic ride from page one to page 300, and I can't even remember the end, but it's a lot in there. So tell me about this now. What have you been working on lately, or what are you working on presently?
Well, one thing is I'm working on a fantasy story, another anthology series, where I'm not the host of it, but Ian Fairgrieve actually is hosting it. It's run into a bit of trouble over the years because it's an ambitious project, but I've been with it since probably about day 10, not day one, day 10, and I've been hanging on, and we're reaching a point now where there's a chance to actually see it happen. So that's one of the things. Then my whip at present is it's a well, I'm going back to punk. It's a smog punk diesel punk meets solar punk eco punk YA, so young adult,
Hmm.
and yeah, as usual, I'm going to go ahead and throw some curveballs in, right? So it, it's one of those. I've been posting about it, so I don't know how far to really take it. but it's basically the initial title was The Beating Mechanical Heart of the World. A great giant machine that goes ahead and cleans one level of atmosphere and dumps the toxins into another. In a
Hmm.
world where they're supposed to coexist, Lysium finds herself drawn to a decision. Does she assist her underlord in bringing about a genocide for the entire planet, or does she resist the person whom she loves and stop him from bringing about the end of the world?
Hmm.
So that's what I'm working on presently. Otherwise, I'm just kind of moseying, writing on the occasional anthology that I get invited for. I'm not actively hunting stories because I am in what I call post-COVID recovery. Not from the illness, but from the psychological effects of everything that's gone on.
Hmm.
Mm,
The world
I,
is a crazy place right now.
yeah, and it was really crazy for a couple of years. I'm not really allowed to talk about my personal life and my family life. My family wants their privacy,
Hmm.
but there was some stuff that happened that relegated me from I'm a field technician by day and also by night. You don't really escape it when you're at my rank.
Hmm.
But someone fell ill. It kept me at home for 2 years. So I went from being a field technician to being where a computer is a tool to communicate with all the equipment, to being in the engineering division, working from home on the computer 40 hours a week. Kind of after 40 hours a week of staring at the computer, I really couldn't muster up the courage to write. I was so busy with everything going on that I had to put writing more or less on hold, which is a bit painful because I see, Fedowars doing their best and Dark Brews doing their best, Thurston Howell's doing their best with the stories I've got. And I really couldn't afford the time to go out and say, hey guys, guess what? I've got another story coming out. I've been writing, because I couldn't.
Hmm.
And now, as the world recovers and I'm back out in the field a couple hours a day, I've been able to write again. I've been posting on social media. So here's hoping that
Definitely.
we'll be better able to move forward.
Hmm. Well, that's definitely a lot to go through, and I'm glad to hear that things are moving in the direction that you'd like them to.
Well, they're moving now. I'd love if they were there, but we'll take it one day at a time. There's improvement being made every day.
Definitely, definitely. So tell me, what type of exciting things do you see in your future?
You've heard me talk about my franchise plan, right?
Tell me about it.
My plan is to create worlds that people want to write in, that
Hmm.
young authors want to go ahead and get excited about. I I don't know if franchise is the right word anymore, but it's what I was calling it for a while. I want to create worlds where if somebody is inexperienced or somebody's scared, but somebody wants to write a story in that world, they can come up to me and they can say, "Hey, Steve, um, I'd really like to write a story. I have an idea, and it takes place in your world. Can you help me?"
Hmm.
And my eventual hope is that one day, one of these universes I write in gets popular enough where, I'll be able to actually say that. I'll be able to say, hey, guess what? Yeah, you know what? Write your story. I'll work with you. And maybe your first book will be involved in one of my universes. We'll have a shared story together. That'll give you the confidence, you'll have the experience, and then from there you can move on. And maybe you'll become something superior to me.
That's a fantastic idea. It kind of reminds me of the dozens and dozens of Star Wars books and the 30 odd Halo books and
Nope.
these worlds out there that are just um, have so many stories with them, all from different authors, but within the same world,
Yeah.
wanting to share that same lore, that same love for that same world.
And you've been part of that. Look again behind your right shoulder, right?
Hmm.
And in your
Definitely.
hand. So you played in the sandbox that I offered, and you created your own story within that's just, and now you've taken it in the ambition and said, I'm going to go ahead and publish something that we thought was dead. You brought it back. That's how much you loved it.
Hmm. Definitely. I think there is a fantastic book, so much so that we even have some news that we were talking about a little bit earlier. Do you want to share that with the viewers?
It's something exciting. There is a volume 2 that will be going for open submission shortly. You were planning for winter and springtime for the guy, for everybody who wants to write for it. If is that correct?
The hope is to have all of the all of the lore, all the content, the call for submissions up in the fall, and then that means that our authors, our potential reader or potential writers who want to contribute to this world, will then have the fall and the spring to write their works, to talk to us. I'm thinking we bring them on to the to the server, to the what's it called? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank now. Um, the shared server, and I
It's
don't know why.
technology, right?
Yeah, technology always gets you right. So anyway, I'll share that when the submission call goes out. We have a link out for the other submissions we have out now. We have a link for potential authors to come and talk to us about it and tell us, ask us questions about the world, to say, I have an idea for a story. Would this work in your world? And let people come and bring that information to us, and I hope you'll be able to join that when you have time and be able to talk to those potential authors and
Well, I'm starting to get time again, so it's time for me to go ahead and get back in because that's part of what I want to do as an author. Right?
mm,
I'm published. I'm multi-published from crop opera, erotica, Centaur, human to Dreampunk, urban Gothic. See what I did there? To Monster Apocalypse with remnants of humanity hanging around. To cross Canada YA anthropomorphic to deep sci-fi giant robots and all that. To dragons of all series. So I'm I'm more than interested, and it's time I get back in the saddle. I've been
that's,
off of it for 2 years, and it's time to go back and see if I can actually keep up with my dreams and aspirations.
that sounds fantastic. So let's see. So do you have any other works that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, I'll just briefly go over them because I just kind of did. So, with Dark Brew Press, which is a press owned by one of the other people who's worked on Remnants, I have Urban Gothic, which is my PTSD um, inspired Dreampunk novella. So, for those who aren't familiar with Dreampunk, I really do recommend looking it up. But it's being trapped in the land of dreams. Matrix is Dreampunk, Cyberpunk for those curious. Um, so that's the one with Dark Brew. I have a whole bunch with Thurston Howell, including my Genmos trilogy. So imagine the genetically modified species. It's an ensemble cast of teen and young adults working together to go ahead and be a found family all over again. I have the Nobilis saga, which I'm working on. The debut novel Seedling has already been released, and I'm still writing for it because I've got plans for a whole whack of novels. Um, but basically, that is another found family deep sci-fi space opera. I have 50 Shades of Neigh, the erotic alternate Edwardian period human centaur crop opera novella that's just been re-released. That was a Kyanite one that's found its way back, and I've got two novellas coming out very shortly. One is a cyberpunk prison protest piece based on real like I did real interviews with prisoners and people who had been part of the American justice system. That was a gut wrenching thing to
Hmm.
research for. And then I have human by birth, dragon by blood, a Babylonian myth inspired urban fantasy, new adult, and that's coming out very shortly from Thurston Howell Publications. So there's a lot still coming out from me.
That's fantastic. That really inspires me. I am of the opinion that a creative person should not let things like what you've previously written hold you back. I think just because you've written in one genre doesn't mean that's the genre you have to stay in. And
That's typecast for authors, and really, there's a chance to grow. I'm going to try it out. Well,
definitely.
most of it. There's still some things where I'm still skeptical about whether I'm okay to actually write it, or if I should have written it to begin with.
Well, I definitely understand it. I feel a lot of the same way that when get inspiration from a book or for writing a book, I have to write it. Doesn't matter if it's in the genre I've written before. And I love seeing other authors with that same gusto. It's fantastic. So I have your social media and your website in the description down below. In the YouTube description, so people can come and find you there. Are there any other places you'd like for the audience to come and look for you?
Well, you know what? Once you get that link going, and hopefully I'll have time to actually go on it. I'll be part of that link too, if you'll let me, for the young authors asking questions. But you're welcome to go ahead and scope me out on Twitter. That's where I'm most active, because that's just the easiest app for me mentally to handle. But my emails are on the website, and you can always go ahead and hunt me down. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Goodreads. It's just a matter of Twitter's just my most active one for social media because I find I can only focus on one social media at a time.
Definitely. No, and I remember now I actually looked at the page because I'm getting to that age where I'm having brain farts, I guess. But it's a Discord. We've set up a Fedowar Discord. So
Okay.
we'll have different rooms on Discord. We have rooms up for our current submissions. So there's one room for the world of Xanthion, which is
Yep.
Daniel Dickinson's shared world we're working towards, as well as one for a horror slasher anthology that we have. We have that up there for people to come and ask questions about. So when we get close to the submission time, we'll definitely open up a room on the Discord for Remnants so that people can come and ask questions and talk to us about that. And we can make sure to give everyone the appropriate information that they need so they can do the best with the story that they want to write for that world.
Okay. Discord. Here we go again.
Nice thing about Discord is it's pretty good with notifications. So even if you don't spend all day on there, you can still get a little blip on your phone or something like that to say,
Yeah.
"Hey, someone's asking you a question."
Yeah. If they ask you directly, it's great. But then you go ahead and you log in, you realize you've got 252 messages that you missed in the last 2 hours.
Well, our Discord's not that busy just yet, but
Okay, because I belong to a couple of Discords, and actually, it was overwhelming the last couple of years to try and keep up with the said social media.
mm,
So I'm getting back into it, but I'm looking at Discord with trepidation. Not against you guys, just against how it's organized on my messaging. So I guess I'm gonna have to fix up my app a little bit.
well, we'll work together and make sure we get it working properly so it's comfortable for everybody.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Well, I think that's about wraps everything up. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
Just stay safe out there, guys. You know what? Look after yourselves. If you got to take a little bit of time to be good mentally, do it.
Fantastic. And I want to say thanks to everyone for watching. Definitely check out Steven's work. He's a fantastic author and he's got some fantastic stuff out there. And we will talk to you again soon.
And likewise, and yeah, don't forget, check out Fedowar, check out DW's works. He's a great guy. He's putting a lot of effort into this.
Thanks so much, Steven. And have a great night, everybody.
Take care.